Now, air raid sirens have been heard across most Ukrainian cities this morning, urging people to seek shelters. Now, Ukrainian journalist Andriy Dehela joins us live from Khmelnytskyi in western Ukraine. Now, Andriy, an intense battle is raging in Mykolaiv, and Russian forces are also expanding their offensive to new cities, including Dnipro and Lutsk. Are they gaining ground?
I wouldn't say that they are gaining ground per se right now, but yes, it is true that overnight there has been intense shelling of the outskirts of Mykolaiv and some parts of the city itself. So what is assumed at the moment, what I saw in the reports by the regional and city administration, is that most probably this sort of chaotic fire on Mykolaiv is there to cover the movements of the troops around the city. So it is not yet known where they are going to and what the plan is. So maybe there will be another attack, another attempt to take Mykolaiv by the Russian troops. But for now, there was heavy shelling, which was supposedly covering the movement. At the same time, yes, we had an air raid siren over most of the cities, including Khmelnytskyi, where I am. It was a very long sort of alert of about 2 hours. All the people had to sit in the bomb shelters. And there have been reports that explosions were heard in the cities of Kropyvnytsky, which has not yet been targeted by the Russians, I think, during this war, and also in the city of Dnipro. So I wouldn't say that the Russian troops are advancing, but yes, the artillery and aviation attacks are definitely widening in terms of which cities, which targets they are going at.
Now, meanwhile, Sumy and Mariupol will be attempting to evacuate their civilians again today. Now, we know Sumy is having more success at the humanitarian corridors. Why is there a difference?
Yes, absolutely. In Sumy, there have already been a few days where the humanitarian corridors were open, and that goes both for the city itself and also for a few different towns and villages in the region. I would say that there is no principal and fundamental difference between Sumy and Mariupol in terms of the cities themselves and how important they could be for both Russia to take and for Ukraine to keep. They are both major cities in the country. And from what we can see right now is that the failures of humanitarian corridors in Mariupol can only be logically explained by the deliberate actions of Russia. They basically, it seems like they just don't want Ukraine to be able to evacuate civilians from Mariupol. The end goal could be to still squeeze people from there into the Russian corridors that lead to the territory of Russia or the temporary occupied territories in the east of Ukraine. So that is the only logical explanation so far. There is no other difference between these two cities.
And in the meantime, more people are fleeing to the west of Ukraine. How are the cities there coping with this influx of refugees?
Yes, there have been more and more people going west, and many of them stay in Ukraine. So they just moved to one of the cities in the west of the country. Even more of them are actually leaving the country, going over the border. One of the big hubs right now for this is the city of Lviv, because if you look at the map of Ukraine, it is sort of the most logical place to go to. It's in the very west of the country. It's pretty close to the Polish border. And it has been said that it is nearing its breaking point, really, because there are about 200,000 people who are staying in the country, and there are tens of thousands people who in the city. I'm sorry, and tens of thousands people who are going through this city every day. At the same time, it's not just the cities in Ukraine that are getting this strain. I have seen reports that cities in Poland, like Warsaw and Krakow, are saying that they are nearing their refugee capacity as well. And it may happen that they would not be able to take in more people and will have to distribute them elsewhere in the country.
Andriy, thank you so much for that update. That was Andriy Dehela speaking live from Khmelnytskyi in western Ukraine.